This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hey kiddos! Welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the man who never has a problem with his hair.
Fill me and Perich.
He keeps it nice and short. Keeps it out of his eyes.
Like nice.
Unwieldy mop on top of my head. I can't stand it. Now, this is for those who actually like pop in and watch. You know, you get to see me having problems with my hair. Oh goodness. So, okay, so let's talk about the first thing that was actually I did not even know about, but actually when my comic book guy was talking to me about it, I said, "Oh yeah, that's kind of right," because the first issue of Naomi is worth like $50 now.
I did see, like that. It was going on. I didn't know the price, but I know it's been going for big money on the internet and stuff. Yeah,
I know. Granted, I am going to say totally worth it. That is a great book. Mm-hmm. It's a great series, you know. And if you really need that first issue for some reason, it's gone up in value because, you know, I don't take care of my books. But I had it and I read it and I loved it.
So do you think it is this what you were talking about before about the speculators market once again?
Yeah. And again, like I said, my comic book guy says, you know, what do you, because he asked me, you know, what do you, because he said, you do a comic book podcast, right? And I said, yeah, I do several. And he says, what do you think about this new speculation boom? And I said, there's a speculation boom?
Well, I wonder,
like, yeah.
I wonder if it's because it's like, you know, Bendis is on there with David Walker, and like if people are like expecting Naomi to be the new Jessica Jones on the DC side. I mean,
I don't even know if
the characters aren't similar, but you know, it's like, you know, a Bendis creation over on that side now. Yeah.
Well, what it was actually I was just using that as an example.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah.
Of the kind of thing that inspires this kind of speculation. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter, and again, according to my comic book guy, and he would know, he sells comic books, there is a real uptick in the speculative market of people buying to flip in hopes of gaining money. And it's 90s nostalgia, man. Everything's back to the 90s.
Well, yeah, I mean,
hologram covers and everything.
I mean, I can see that now, especially like on the Marvel side. Like people are gonna like try to start picking up, you know, the first issue Sam Wilson was Captain America, or the first Jane Foster Thor.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly there's a possibility. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. The long box market is something different than the speculator market. So if you go back now and say, oh, let's go get that first issue of Jane Foster Thor, that's a different thing to purchase than here's issue 1 of this book that you can buy for $5, and you're hoping you're going to sell it in a week or a month or a year for $50.
But that's the thing. I don't think a number one holds that cachet anymore because they reboot every year to 2 years, you know. So it's like I don't.
Well, yeah, but
I think money wise, the number one has lost its value. Now it's like, they're bringing so and so character into the MCU. Where was their first appearance? That might go up in you know.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying, but again, that's a different. That's a different type of market. See, what killed the '90s, because the speculators market, when they talk about the speculation market, they're talking about the '90s, Superman. You know, pre-bagged books.
Well, yeah,
you know,
like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1, and then that X-Men #1. I mean, those were the days where they weren't throwing out #1s every 2 seconds. I think people were like, this is a brand new #1. This is going to be worth money, you know.
But the thing is that there's this market that gets created where people are buying stuff with the intention of flipping it quickly. Mm-hmm. It's one thing when you buy. So, for example, you buy McFarlane's first appearance in Spider-Man, and you say, I get the feeling this is going to be worth money. I'm going to put it in my long box to save for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to sell it, and it's going to be like a Fantastic Four #1 in, you know, by the 80s when it was worth, you know, $100,000, you know?
Yeah.
That is a different kind of market than the speculators market. The speculators market is when the people are just buying tons of books and trying to sell them on eBay quickly, which happens because you'll see this because the book sells out, and now people are going to pay $35 for it on eBay, And that's a different market. And the question that I kind of come to is the speculators killed the comic book industry in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But it mostly killed the comic book industry in the 90s because Marvel and DC and 1,000 indie publishers kind of thought this was going to go on forever.
Yeah.
They didn't plan for this occurrence. And I kind of think of this kind of like the Funko Pop market now, where the Funko Pop is basically, they're useless toys. I think we can all agree with that. You can't play with them. They're literally just toys made to sit in a box on your shelf. You have Funko? Are you just making fun that I talk with my hands?
No, I'm covering up the ones over on okay. Wall over there.
Oh, that's okay. Well, you took them out of the box. They're worthless now.
I know.
Everyone knows that. Second you free your toy, the magic, the money goblin league.
That one in the middle was a gift from Lilith Hellfire. I will never sell that.
That's very good. Yeah, we'll see what your kid does someday. Oh, that's junk. What are we going to do with this?
Exactly.
Any of this stuff worth money now? Anyway. Yeah. That's why I trash all my stuff so my kids know it's worthless.
So do you think the thing fueling this new speculator market is all like the all the superhero movies and TV shows? I mean, you can't throw a rock and not hit like a superhero property anymore.
Well, yeah, I think that's a big part of it. It's bringing the idea of it into the mainstream and into the public eye. But more along the lines, it's also creating this idea that there is this value to these products that is unrelated to its either cultural or historical value. Mm-hmm. So, and this is, like I said, the difference between the long box market and the speculator market. Now, you can speculate to buy something, put it in a long box, but then you're taking that time before you sell it.
Yeah.
It's the idea of flipping, which is sort of what you had back in the 90s, where the Death of Superman, still in bag was selling, for $100. Because people thought, oh, this is the last thing. But of course, why would you buy it if you're not going to open the bag?
Oh.
How do you even know what's in there? They could have just put paper in there. So every so often you'll see that unopened pack of chewing gum from the 1970s. Could be a rookie card in here. Maybe, probably not, because they were rare. But
the baseball cards, yeah.
Yeah, those were the ones that went up in value, was baseball cards.
I bought baseball cards for one summer. It's like, but they're like boring. With cards, it's like, there's like 2 sentences to read on them, and that's it. At least with comic books, you can read a story over and over.
Well, I used to like the we used to always get the Star Wars cards.
Oh, I was going to say I got a couple of those Marvel series.
With the puzzles.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm older than you, Phil.
I know.
That was before they had comic book cards. You had to have a major licensed property back then.
Yes.
This wasn't for this.
But no,
this wasn't for comic books.
When I was really young, like what was that? Like early '80s. I remember like those Star Wars cards. I think they even had them for like E.T. and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, but like I said, it's an interesting development. It does rhyme of the 90s, and and I know from my comic book guys' worry, it's like, man, are we going through this again? Because of course, this is a store that's been around since the 80s, so they've been through it. They've seen that day when they were printing money on these comic books, and now they're like, don't get excited. But I did notice they've actually hired in new staff. Oh, nice.
Yeah, got these young kids in there who I've never seen before, but
But yeah, but Naomi, so the ripple effect is occurring once again.
Spend this. Well,
causing chaos.
Hey,
throwing chaos wherever he goes.
To me, Naomi's a book that deserves it.
Oh yeah, it's a good book,
that's the thing. It's like I can see Naomi being a character who sticks around in the DC.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She could very easily be DC's new Ms. Marvel.
So that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that's the whole thing. Is like people are just waiting because they think this book is going to skyrocket once she makes her first appearance in live action or an animated something or other.
Yeah. It's entirely possible. And and for what it's worth, maybe there's more to the speculation market this time because I think it is more creator driven. I'm sure stuff like Bitterroot is getting a lot of hype on the markets because of the cachet of the artist.
Yeah,
it's not.
Sorry,
yeah.
my guys.
It's not just the gimmick of the book. Who's in this issue? This one dies. Now, kids, it's not about just multiple covers. Although
we do have
Marvel's been doing the multiple covers for a while now.
Yeah.
And as my comic book guy will tell you, I get guys who, they need all 50 covers. They need all of them.
Yeah.
They tell me I need all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, my guy says he gets those too. Yeah.
And it's like, and then of course you have, but this is actually where I think Marvel is being smart, where they are designing in rarity, much in the way that Funko does with their manufactured collectible junk toys.
With some of them,
and Tristan will tell you, Funko toys are awful.
Yeah,
he will tell you. Tristan, are Funko toys worth it? Yeah, exactly.
It could be if you're either a toy collector or stop motion.
Oh, okay. So I thought you said they weren't good for stop motion.
Oh no, they could work. The only problem is how you can move their legs.
They
don't stand up well, I guess.
Yeah. So there are problems. I've heard him say that, like, a lot of times especially with the Five Nights at Freddy's Funko toys, they're kind of poorly made.
That's what they go in the box.
I've heard.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah, what's your question, Tristan?
There's like this Spider-Man. I'm trying to look him up, but apparently he's basically a Spider-Man, but he's kind of like the Iron Spider, but not as technology like.
Oh, you mean Steel Spider?
I think so. He has like silver arms and like a silver.
Yeah.
Oh, silver arms?
Well, there was a character named Steel Spider in the 80s who was a
He was in the Spider-Man card too.
Yeah, but he actually started out as a fat kid, but he was a super genius kid. And actually, I read Steel Spider's origin. It's really great.
Yeah.
He used to be in a group, and he used to dress like Doc Ock because he made the
yeah.
But then he made the Spider-Man arms, and then he actually made a lot of money as a tech billionaire, lost a lot of weight, and then lost it all, and his wife left him. And
that's sad.
Yeah, he's had some pretty weird stories. I remember they actually brought him back in, I think, an MC2 story once, where the new generation of superheroes were like, "No, man, you were Steel Spider, you were awesome." He's like, "Really? I thought it was kind of a loser, but
See, what do you need me here? You can do this show with Tristan.
I could.
But no, I was going to say, if it's like
I thought you liked it.
I do like it, but I'm just, you don't even need me. But no, if he's saying it looks like Spider-Man in silver armor, like Peter Parker was like one issue. I think it was Web of Spider-Man 100. He invented this armor. There was no Stark that, there was no, it wasn't like an Iron Man suit. It was basically just a suit of armor to go up against a group of villains.
Yeah, well, possible. Like when he says it looked like Iron Spider but cheaper, that made me think of Steel Spider. I would like it if Steel Spider was a character in one of the video games. Steel Spider is awesome. I love Steel Spider. Don't hate on Steel Spider.
Yeah, but he had those spider arms on his back, so I just wonder if people are going to worry about confusing him with Superior.
Yeah, well, actually, and then there's actually another what if story where Peter Parker doesn't get the Spider suit, but he actually makes the Steel Spider arms himself.
Yes,
because he's a genius.
Yeah, because I think someone else got Spider-Man's powers, like Flash Thompson or something. He has to stop him. Yeah.
There's lots of stories with Captain Spider. I like Captain Spider. He tries to do right, but it's hard to do right when you're, not smart. Oh, and speaking of geniuses, or the overuse of the word, so Tarantino has a new film coming out. Called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and this thing, first of, this was a film I had bad feelings about because of one scene in the trailer where you basically have Bruce Lee bragging about how his hands are a deadly weapon. If I get into a fight with someone and I kill them, I'll go to jail. And Brad Pitt says, yeah, that'll happen to anyone if they get into a fight with someone and kill them. Yeah. Which is, true and funny. Liked it better the first time I heard it in freaking Jailhouse Rock. Tarantino. Come up with your own lines, write something that's original for once. You hack.
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere. No. Yeah, I think Bruce Lee's daughter said, was that his daughter? Has a problem with it.
A lot of people who are like, from the Lee, and honestly, if you're gonna make an iconic character a jerk, Bruce Lee is not the guy to do it to. Okay, this is a guy who was beloved, and there's not really a lot of negative stories out there about him. Like, the worst story you have about him is that he was kind of a workaholic dad, which, a workaholic dad in the 60s, is that something new? I mean, and then he did work himself to death, and then you have like the whole Lee family curse storyline, all that kind of stuff. But no, as his wife said, Bruce was always getting challenged to fights. He never wanted to fight people on set because he had no reason to. He was by many accounts, by Chuck Norris's own account. So hey, you can't hate on Bruce Lee if you like Chuck Norris. And Chuck Norris, who was a legitimate karate champion, he actually won an Olympic gold. For those who don't know, how we know who Chuck Norris is, that's his backstory. Bruce Lee, he did the 1-inch punch. He did a lot of really, really fancy, almost superhero kind of stuff. And that's what Bruce Lee's entire art style was. He elevated the art of martial arts to an actual art form and really, really made the American interest in that kung fu world and kung fu legends, of which Tarantino is always happy to steal from. And then it strikes me now, because apparently, so spoilers for this movie, something that's not in the trailer, is apparently Brad Pitt beats Bruce Lee in the fight. I know. Oh, really? Brad Pitt beats Bruce Lee, But it strikes me that this is not the first time that Tarantino said, who should be the best kung fu fighter in the world? Our white protagonist. Our white protagonist should.
I was going to say, doesn't that seem? Having the white guy probably beat like one of the, if not the best, well-known Asian martial arts actor.
Well, yeah, I mean, the white hero complex. I mean, yeah, it is a trope, but it's a bad trope. It's a trope you're supposed to avoid, Tarantino. You're not supposed to lean into it. And and it strikes me that even when he's fighting Nazis, he makes sure it's blue-eyed, blonde-haired, Aryan superstar Brad Pitt up there, leading the Inglourious Bastards. I think the guy has a real problem with people. Even Django Unchained, I get the feeling that there's a lot of racism there that you don't see. And I actually think Quentin Tarantino is a horrible racist. I'm going to say it.
I don't know about racist, but I think he's angry at humanity for some reason. Don't ask me why, but
because no one wants to talk film with him, I guess.
Well, I think he was kicked. Before he became famous. I think he didn't get a lot of respect, probably from many people.
Yeah, well, probably, but I don't think it was because he was. I think it was because he has a bad personality. Because I don't see this guy having a good personality. I'm going to go out on a limb on that. I think Tarantino's probably a jerk. And you don't believe me? Tarantino, come on this show and defend your oeuvre, Mr. Tarantino. Defend your Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, but that's it. And I just think that this is a recurring theme with Tarantino. I think that he's often had this problem where he is trying to tell this story that homages, the great grindhouse films of the 70s, but doesn't understand that you can retell those stories in an intelligent way. They don't have to be as tone deaf and poorly made as the originals, And, that's the thing. I just don't think that, And, and as I was saying, finally has one black protagonist. Well, I guess maybe you could say Foxy Brown was a black antagonist. So yeah, okay. So there you go. So his second.
I mean, the first Kill Bill. I mean, he basically, your main protagonist. He has his main protagonist, a woman, get raped while she's in a coma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And of course, our main villain in there, of course, is the guy who stole Bruce Lee's job on Kung Fu too. So
yeah,
which maybe casts him well as a villain, but at the same time, there's just a lot going on there that I'm not quite sure about. And I knew when I saw that scene because I was really excited about this film because everything else about this film really seemed like something I would enjoy. But then they put that scene in there, and I'm like, this is going to ruin the film, isn't it? This is going to make this film a bad film, isn't it? This is going to be the Martha moment for this film. Now, I don't know if it's going to have enough better moments to make you forget about the Martha moment. But from the way I'm getting press on this, I'm thinking that you get stuck in that Martha moment and you never get out.
Well, yeah.
And that's a trap. You got to avoid it. You got to avoid your Martha moments.
I mean, that can bog down a good movie, and just look what it did with Batman v Superman.
Yeah,
But that wasn't.
I mean, well, I think it. Yeah, there the Martha just made you because it just stopped you, and it just made you realize how much of everything else was bad. Yeah,
I mean, I'm a Batman fan, and I don't enjoy that movie for the most part.
Honestly, it was just, and I don't care. They're like taking down the release the Snyder Cut site because in the end, no one cared because. Again, much like Josh Trank's Fantastic Four,
it's like
I don't think Snyder was really making a better film than he made.
I was gonna say if it's not well written or not well made, what's more of it gonna do?
Exactly,
flaws more.
Exactly, because even the stuff that he thought was good was actually very bad. So I mean, that's the problem. That's the problem with these guys like Tarantino, like Snyder. They get so in love with their own stuff, they never think that, maybe this isn't what I should be doing. Maybe this isn't the story I should be telling.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to look at what I'm saying, look at what I'm writing, and maybe think about how that might look to someone who isn't me. And, that's the problem with filmmaking. Now, to talk about some good filmmaking right now.
Okay.
Something I thought was going to be awful. At first I got excited about it and I got mad about it. And I just finished the season and I am completely 180 right back on it. The Boys is phenomenal.
Like I said, I just started it. I'm like halfway through the first episode. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to warn you, man. It gets raunchy. It gets dirty. Not as bad as the comics.
Well, I mean,
it gets a lot more human than the comics.
Yeah, I mean, I already saw the scene where the Deep. I don't know how far he goes, but I see him trying to pull a Me Too movement.
Oh yeah. Well, they touch back on that.
Okay.
It's the Deep is so Aquaman.
You mean Jason Momoa?
No, they make him look like Jason Momoa here, but he is so meant to be Super Friends Aquaman, and everyone treats him poorly, and he does lash out, and he's
pulling his mackerel out.
Yeah, well, he does talk to aquatic life, and it's but it is that reality that no one cares about the ocean, and that is his constant trouble. Is that he is the ruler of 75% of the planet, but nobody goes there,
So can I assume? I mean, I'll watch more, but can I assume he's lying when he says, "Oh, I'm number 2 here"?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't ever remember anyone saying Aquaman was in the Trinity.
Yeah, I know.
I think you got to get. It's like sometime after. I mean, here's what I'll say: Aquaman, big enough star that he got into the original Super Friends. So he was arguably the 4th member. He was the 4th member of the Quadrilogy? The Quad Squad? Anyway, he was there in the Super Friends, but this is the Boys, and it ain't the Super Friends.
Yeah.
And if you do modern ranking, I think even now, Aquaman is like, after the Flash,
Yeah.
It's, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman,
Flash.
I was going to go Green Lantern before the Flash.
I was going to say Flash, and then Green Lantern and Aquaman have to duke it out.
No, because Green Lantern at least is powerful.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, is way more powerful. And although they have this great story about being the fastest man alive, and and A-Train having to defend his title at these track meets against other super speed superheroes.
They did that in National Quasar.
They did at a track meet, or
it was like an intergalactic thing, but like
yeah, held by the runner. Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Running, that is the thing that keeps death at bay. I'm outrunning death. Of all of the Elders of the Universe, the runner is probably the really? That's your cosmic obsession? Running? There's not even general athletics. It's like you can argue the champion is kind of like general athletics, but it's like nope. I just run. I just run fast. That's what I do.
Get your heart pumping. It gets the adrenaline up.
Yeah. But but that also kind of suggests that shouldn't the runner be the fastest man alive? Because he is the runner. If someone is technically faster than him, shouldn't that cause him to die immediately?
Yes, but can you categorize him as a man? Is he more like a deity or some kind of higher life form?
Well, I mean, the Elders of the Universe are, and this is their new origin, is that as all of their race died out, the essence of their race kind of infused them. So yeah, you could argue that they are like gods. Although that also suggests that when they have kids, the Collector has a child. Collector actually had a wife. And of course the Gardener has a child. Whether or not that causes them to lose some of their essence, does that mean they will die and then their child will become the Elder? It's an interesting question about the universe. I don't know how all that works, but it apparently does. Yeah, but the boys, it's just fantastic. Like I said, I got very worried because they canceled the Tick. And I really wanted to do a compare and contrast to the two. I think I can still do that. I think that the dark conspiracy at the heart of Vought does put it in a different direction than what we see in the Tick. Because in the Tick, superheroes are more naturally created.
Mm-hmm.
Although that said, there's a real question that you're going to have: are these characters naturally created ever, or is it just Compound V? Did they mention Compound V? Yeah, they mentioned Compound V in the first episode because the Senator mentioned Compound V. So it's interesting. They do play with a lot of stuff with that, and it's actually really good. They have a really neat take on something that's in the book, in the original book, because they do change Butcher's origin a bit, but they change it in a brilliant way. And what they do is very fascinating and opens up a lot for what this story could be. And Homelander is a very fascinating character the more they delve into him. I kind of feel like The Boys does do a really great I won't say it does a great adaptation because I didn't read a lot of The Boys. I've read a few issues. I know the basic backstory. I've read the Wikipedia. I enjoyed the books I've read, but so many books and so little time. But as I watch The Boys, it's like, this is really good. This is really, really good. I'm looking forward to season 2. Frankly.
What?
It's a short season.
I only watched the half of the first episode, but I don't know why it struck me this way, and maybe it's because they had a series in the early 2000s, well, maybe mid 2000s or whatever. But what kept coming to mind for me is not like Aquaman, Superman. Basically, I was thinking Squadron Supreme. For some reason.
Oh yeah, it's kind of it's definitely Squadron Sinister.
Yes, yeah. Or like I said, did you read that mature rated book in the 2000s?
Oh, yes,
Supreme Power or whatever. Yeah.
Supreme Power, yeah. Which I think was kind of intentionally, it was intentionally an answer to all of the other grim and gritty reboots, because as people will point out, that actually the superhero deconstruction was done first by Marvel with Squadron Supreme.
Yes.
When they had their ongoing series in the 80s. Came up before Watchmen did.
Yeah. Yes, by Mark Grunwald, yes.
By Mark Grunwald, the great one. And it's a great series, great book. Love Squadron Supreme. And touched on so many things that other other stories would touch on later in the way that they evolved them. But yeah, it's an interesting take on the concept of superheroes, and actually almost gives you a moment to where you kind of sympathize, especially in that first episode, when you sympathize with Homelander. When they're at the at Starlight's first big meeting, and they're all talking, everyone and talking about profit and loss and who's marketing and licensing what. Which again, actually, that's something that's really great in I think it's called The American by Dark Horse, which is about the how basically they keep on just putting in a new Captain America every time the last Captain America dies. And the guy who was his kid's sidekick in the 50s, got written out of his stories, and he's all bitter. He says, "Yeah, well, no, the reason why they wrote me out because I was getting half the licensing." So the American was sick of sharing that money.
Before I forget, that reminds me, I was listening to a Kevin Smith podcast when I met his. I don't know if this is a rumor or if they heard this somewhere, but supposedly him and his co-host were talking about the plot of that that Falcon and Winter Soldier series. Mm-hmm. Part of it is going to be like the U.S. government being like they don't want Sam Wilson to be Captain America. Mm. Steve may have wanted him to, but the government.
Are we going to get John Walker?
I don't know. Maybe that'll be awesome.
I would love to see that shield is United States government property, son.
I just
again, Howard Stark can't exactly argue that.
Is it going to be John Walker, or are there going to be? Would they make a new one? I was going to say, or would they even try to get Bucky to would some people in the government want Bucky to pick up that shield? He's like, no, don't you understand? I'm a killer. And they're like, yeah, but you're the white guy.
No. First off, they're going to go white guy. They don't want Bucky. He's uncontrollable.
They're
going to watch. I mark my words.
Oh, I hope it's John Walker. That would be awesome.
John Walker's coming into this, and they're going to get some big wrestler. John Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena. We see you.
I mean,
this is your chance. I would love to see John Cena as John Walker. Okay. Kevin Smith, make it happen.
I mean, I don't know enough of the current wrestlers, but yeah, if you got a big, blonde-haired.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I mean, the idea, because and to have this guy being manipulated. Oh,
Charlie. Did you just think the same thing I did?
That this would be where they introduce the Taskmaster so we get his backstory in the Black Widow film.
Oh, that would be good too. But no, that would work. That would work into it too. But who was John Walker's partner when he was Captain America?
Oh, Battlestar.
We could get Battlestar.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I'd love to see Battlestar.
Yes.
Battlestar didn't go crazy.
Exactly.
The other option is you could see them bringing out William Burnside. 50s Cap, saying we actually do have another Cap on. We actually do have one on file. He's a little unstable. Of course, President Trump says, "I don't know. It sounds good to me. I don't hear anything wrong with what he's saying.
Bigly.
He's just a good American. Fight those commies, Cap." Oh gosh. You know what's weird is you actually read the 50s caps when it was supposed to be John Walker. And you go oh wow, they literally just made him he was just that racist in the 50s.
You mean Steve Rogers?
No, the 50s Cap. You read the Captain America Comic Smasher books.
Okay, yeah.
If you ever get one of those collections,
okay, because
they reprinted a few years back when they did bring William Burnside back. He is racist and just so insanely anti-communist and really just feeding that right-wing propaganda machine in those books. So it's one of these weird things where it's oh wow, this was actually when they actually brought back William Burnside, or the original 50s Cap, they were kind of just making a note about, see, this is how this Cap was. Mm-hmm. This was the kind of guy he was. So, this is why that classic Cap doesn't work in the 60s.
Yes.
So, but that was a great series. So yeah, I'd love to see the government not wanting Sam Wilson to be Cap. And I don't think they're going to want Bucky to be Cap either.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the conflict, because you've got to remember that actually, when Bucky was capped, Falcon was sort of showing him the ropes too.
Yeah.
So you're kind of maybe going to get that reversal, that same dynamic. The Bucky Falcon relationship goes pretty deep, and so I'm looking forward to that. You know.
Oh, I wonder if by the end of the series, if they're going to like clean up Bucky's. Like he can't be the Winter Soldier. That was like a Russian thing, and by the end, if he's going to get some kind of like blue and red costume or something.
Yeah, well, that'd be neat. Or he just becomes nomad, man without.
Oh, yeah, too. But I'm just wondering if they're going to get rid of that Winter Soldier thing. They're like, that was a creation of the Russians, you know.
Yeah, well, I think he's just Bucky.
There's so much blood on that Winter Soldier mantle. Yeah.
Yeah, but but that's the thing. It's like even in World War II, he was just Bucky.
Oh no, is he the White Wolf or whatever?
Well, yeah, he was the White Wolf in Wakanda. But no, I think he'll just be Bucky.
Yeah,
because he was Bucky in World War II, and that was like the thing. Like in the comics, it's like. What's your superhero? My superhero name? It's Bucky.
Put a secret identity, I know.
Yeah, he doesn't have one. Although they did make the joke that, everyone knows that Steve Rogers has a best friend named Bucky, and that Captain America's best friend is also named Bucky. Can't put the two together.
But I guess Bruce Wayne couldn't do that with his partner in the 40s.
Yes, well, if he'd go Batman and Dick.
Yeah.
Batman and Dick. Although, man, Rhythm of it would have had a field day. Oh boy, yes, good old Nightwing. Oh, can't wait to see Burt Ward Nightwing. Yeah. I'm just so excited for that.
Do you think they'll do straight out? Do you think they'll do Nightwing, or are they just going to have him? Because in some of those older DC books, like Earth 2, like Grayson stayed Robin. Do you think they'll just have like an older Robin, maybe?
Well, I mean, first off, let's remember that Burt Ward is actually in his 60s.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think he's in the best shape. As very few people in their 60s are in the best shape.
I mean, I'm not saying you're going to put him in action, but you can have him in a costume or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him in some kind of costume. I mean, I think everyone would. I think we're all sad that we don't get to see Adam West in a costume. Mm-hmm. And there have been talks, he might be Commissioner Gordon, he might be this, he might be some other character entirely. He might be the President of the United States. Although I think it is confirmed that Lynda Carter will be Wonder Woman. She's not Queen Hippolyta. It makes me wonder if they're actually going to be, if they're going to visit that it is just going to be that Kingdom Come world. And you just have, actually the most logical thing is that Burt Ward will be Batman in that universe.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to they're going to sort of armor him up as Batman. Sort of that, Dark Knight.
Either that or they had Dick Grayson as Red Robin. If they do something like that, because I bet you that they're going to find a way to honor Adam West's Batman. Now, I guarantee you.
Well, yeah. Well, the logical way is that you have Burt as the new Batman, or Dick as the new Batman, because that's the logical role. And when you're in the Batcave, and you're going to see the old Bat computer, and you'll see like the Bruce Wayne, the Wayne Foundation,
Oh, that's going to be sad. It's going to be like if you reference his death, it's going to be like, yeah, it's that that there's that final death trap he couldn't escape from or something.
Yeah. Should have wore the thermal B-long underwear that day.
They should have did this crossover like a couple years ago. Come on.
Well, yeah. Nah, I mean, I think we all would have loved it. But I think honestly, it's kind of weird because I don't think it's Brandon Routh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he fits into that old group. It's like, I mean, yeah, okay, granted, Lynda Carter still looks pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
But if nothing else, it does show that, like, Kryptonians just don't age,
Yeah, but I think Routh he's the only one living who played Superman. He wasn't the last Superman. Christopher Reeve is gone. George Reeves is gone.
Yeah, and his one was definitely meant to be a continuation of the original Donner.
Yeah,
Donner universe. It was very much meant in that theme. It's really meant to take place after Superman 4.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you do Brandon. Brandon Routh's already there. 2, you use him. You're honoring both his movie and the Christopher Reeve stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do think it's good that they got him, and I think I think he can do it. No gray up his hair and do all that stuff. Put him in old man makeup.
I don't know because I think Lil says. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but Lil says she thinks he's already going a little bit gray. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, well, why not? I'm just saying Kingdom Come Superman. He had full on Reed Richards.
Reed Richards, yeah.
Yeah, I got a little of that. Like one of these sets.
Yeah,
it's
me
like
too.
2 or 3 like little gray hairs. Like, oh man, I'm going all Reed Richards. I didn't even know you could just go gray at the temples like that. But it stopped. My hair is so luxurious. It's just stopped. Like, come on, man, make me look like Reed Richards.
What? That's the incredible story of Stan Lee's you didn't buy gray at the temples.
I never saw it in the wild. I never have, and then now it's. I guess it could happen. Except for me, it's only on one side. It's like kind of skunk-y, but
Well, that's it.
My beard, I get like big white streaks in my beard, which is why I don't like to grow my beard.
Well, that's another thing why you keep your hair short, Charlie. I say like hide the gray a little bit.
I would definitely do that if I had the time and opportunity. I gotta get like hired in. I gotta be locked into my job. I gotta be like do 2 or 3 months there. Then mustache is back. The hair is gone. I get to be me again.
Gotta be me.
That's the dream. That's what I want. It's a slog, man. It's a slog.
So before we got a couple minutes, you want to talk any comics?
I mean, I don't know if you want to save stuff for these things. I mean, I've read a lot. I've read the Final Infinity Warps, which was amazing, especially the I liked the War Machines 3, the little additional story in the back.
I was gonna say, do you want to read that? Because I don't know if Lilith read that or is gonna want to talk.
We can talk that. I also read Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Oh, she want to talk.
Dark. Oh, okay, we'll save that one.
Yeah, save Red Hood. Save Spider-Man and Red Hood at least. I know she'll want to.
Okay,
she'll talk.
Yeah, well, I haven't read Spider-Man. Conan, we can talk Conan. This was a good episode. Then we have Captain America and Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four I loved, by the way. And I wonder if they're gonna have. Well, you want to talk Fantastic Four? Because does Lilith beat Fantastic Four? Well, all I want to say is this: $5. They solved the problem by Alicia breaking out her own radioactive clay again.
Yeah.
Because I am so certain because I think they did that as a one-off and wasn't going to be a one-off. You can't throw that out there.
I know.
Alicia's got radioactive clay, But I mean, she's going to be the new puppet master.
I mean, we can talk that on Capes. I don't know if Lil Thread or not, but we can talk.
Okay, yeah, but I love that. Well, let's talk Conan, as I know I'm the only one who read it.
Oh,
but,
I didn't know if Lil read that sometimes or no.
I don't know, man.
I don't.
You know what? Pick a book. Okay,
I told you.
Infinity War.
Yeah,
Infinity War.
Yeah, Iron Hammer. Yeah, I saw it.
Yes, Iron Hammer, and which we basically get the idea. And I love how they do the incursions. They're basically again building up to this incursion universe concept, and how what it was that the Zeke Stain guy, that he wasn't a doubled person.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like one person, and that was what made the universe flawed,
mm-hmm.
and was causing all the collapses in itself. And when we started off, of course, everyone's been quadrupled now. But of course, Arachnite, because he's already 4 people in one mind, was able to navigate it,
Yeah.
And he could guide everyone else through it. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful the way they do it. And then of course they have. I mean, I don't know if Zeke Stain's gonna, because first off, isn't Zeke Stain a villain? So
yeah,
that he's in the Hammer now is.
I mean, if it's the same guy from the Iron Man book a few years ago, yeah, he's like Obadiah Stain's son or something, yeah.
Yeah, Ezekiel Stain, yeah. So that was that's so, but he's the one person who wasn't doubled. So
yeah.
But what's interesting about it is they have his little face in the Hammer, which is also kind of weird. But then they reference it again in that weird thing where he's like, "Am I now unworthy?" It's like, whereas in the first story they say, "Well, actually, the Hammer never cares if you're worthy in this universe."
Yeah.
But
because it's like part technology, yeah.
Yeah. But then of course, Jane, Happy Jane Hogan, who I loved, who was our new female Iron Hammer.
Yeah.
That was a fun story, man. I like that. And man, I love the bonding of Happy and Jane. I did think that. I mean, I actually personally think Happy and Pepper are the better bonding. But I guess they wanted to get to a Jane Foster Thor, and they'd already bonded. I don't know who Jane Foster's
bonded. I guess she's supposed to be Fandral. You know, not Jane Foster. Pepper Potts and Fandral.
Oh, maybe.
I've never heard Fandral called the Wise. You know.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there's all sorts of adjectives that they attach to not Falstaff, Volstagg. But
you know who I thought you were going to absolutely mention in the first story, Reuben Storm, the wonderful one, when the terrific two get merged into one.
Why is he Reuben Storm?
I don't know, unless that's supposed to be a play on Reed and something else. Oh, okay, well, you get R-E for Reed, then there's a U in the middle for what? Sue, and then there's B-E-N for Ben.
Okay, Reuben. Reuben Storm. I get it. So it's all four of them are 1-on-1. So, okay. I mocks what you're saying. Actually, that was supposed to be like merged with Wonder Man. I don't know.
Why?
Because he's the wonderful one. So, but I see. Because he's the
one, yeah.
Rather than the Fantastic Four or the Terrific Two.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it now. And he's doing all the one puns.
But of course, I knew you were gonna like this. I mean,
yeah, I loved it. It was really a great story. I liked how they played it out, and it just and then they return to the universe, and then you have, of course, what is it? Vanos.
Corvus and Thanos. Yes,
because I must make balance and order in the universe, and now it is proof.
Well, you know who read this. You know who wrote this first story, right?
Who?
Al Ewing, or Immortal.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, it was a great book. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I recommend it to a friend. Oh, let's read the book.
We can ask her. All right. Should we get out of here? Because I know it looks like she needs.
We can get out of here. If Lilith is on time, then
I guess I don't know.
We'll take a quick break and come right back.
All right.
Okay. So until next time, cats and kittens, you can always reach Phil at.
You can reach me at nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp, and you can catch Superconnectivity everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send us voicemails, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
And, of course, if you'd like to write to me in an old-fashioned email way, there are Oz and Pos Wednesday, you can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. I had to remember what I was pitching here. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet things when I feel like it. At Charlie Esser, that's CHARLI. SSER. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality.
Ding. There you go. All right, cats and kittens, thank you for connecting with us once again here on Superconnectivity. In 1 week's time, be sure to super connect with us once again. Good night.
Good night. Now we dance.
I love to dance. Do the wave. Ooh, my amazing mental powers. I'm like Slade Wilson.
His arms are rubber.
Oh!